Ladies and germs, we are about to witness what I think will go down as one of the greatest NBA playoff matchups that we've seen in years. In one corner, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and in the other corner, the Denver Nuggets. As these teams battle it out, there will be several important questions that we're going to be asking. Questions like, how will the Timberwolves neutralize basketball uniking Nikola Jokic? Questions like, will Minnesota's bench continue to show up like it did in the first round? And questions like, will Anthony Edwards continue his ascent and produce in the playoffs where it really matters? Yeesh, how many times is this guy gonna do that same Anthony Edwards joke? So guys, get ready. Chris Finch, make sure you're safely secured in bubble wrap. We can't have you get another injury because this matchup is going to be one for the ages. Welcome everybody, my name is Troy and this is the Half Court Report. Be sure you click that thumbs up button and subscribe for some of the best NBA content that you're going to find on YouTube. I think we could very well see the Nuggets' toughest challenge coming here in the second round. The number 3 seeded Timberwolves did what many thought would be unthinkable, not only defeating the Phoenix Suns, but sweeping them, completely dismantling them in 4 games. The Nuggets are going into the series against the Timberwolves as the favorite, of course, because they are the champions and they do have the best player in the series on their team. But the T-Wolves have played them extremely well, and that started with last year's first-round series, which the Nuggets won in 5 games. If you'll recall, former Nuggets player Bruce Brown Jr. said, honestly, I would say that our toughest series was against Minnesota. Ant and them, it was just something about them. And the same is held true this year, where the teams split their season series 2 games apiece. Minnesota has something that other teams don't have. They've got the height of Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, and that's about as good of a duo as you can hope for in slowing down Denver's offense. This Nuggets team isn't quite as good as last year's group, in my opinion, because they're missing the strong bench play of Bruce Brown, and Reggie Jackson and Jamal Murray are also nursing minor injuries. You've also got that calf injury to Murray that it slowed him down in the first round against the Lakers. He did have 2 amazing game winners to give the Nuggets that win in games 2 and 4, but aside from his 32 points in the closeout game, he hasn't been dominating the playoffs as he's done in previous seasons. But despite all that, these guys are still the best team in the West. Nikola Jokic, he's the ultimate weapon in games. He never gets rattled, and he's such an unstoppable scorer one-on-one that the Nuggets are always going to get a good look in crunch time. During the regular season, Jokic averaged 26.5 points, 9 assists, and 12.5 rebounds. But so far in the playoffs, he's averaging over 28 points, nearly 10 assists, and over 16 rebounds per game. The Wolves, they're not pushovers though, because Anthony Edwards has lifted his game and arrived as one of the truly elite playoff performers. Check out the video that I just did on him. What he's doing right now is amazing. He's averaging 31 points, 8 rebounds, and almost 6.5 assists throughout this postseason. His athleticism is something to behold, and he plays with a joy and a swagger, that chip on his shoulder, and that is just infectious to the rest of his team. Minnesota, they did have the best regular season defense by a mile, and it also did a nice job against Phoenix's dangerous offense thanks to that trio of elite perimeter defenders that they have. The player that gets the most praise for the Timberwolves defense is Rudy Gobert, of course, but you can't count out Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who has just been a revelation this year. I think he's probably the most underrated defender in the NBA. Then Anthony Edwards, he always wants that tough matchup late in the game because of his ability to shut down players one-on-one. So the Wolves' defense, particularly in the second half of games against the Suns, was just suffocating. They looked ferocious on the glass on both ends, and they dominated nearly every time the Phoenix starters sat. 3 out of those 4 wins against the Suns were by double digits, and Minnesota also held Phoenix under 100 points in 2 of those 4 games. So their defense is nothing to take lightly. So that defense is going to be vital in defending against Denver's 2-man game between Murray and Jokic, which is the deadliest in the league. So definitely pay close attention to Nickeil Alexander-Walker in this series, because he is really good at getting around those types of handoffs and pick and rolls that the Denver players like to run. So again, I think the defense is going to be key in this series. The Nuggets are able to just destroy other teams when they make mistakes with their rotations, and that happens frequently due to the help that Nikola Jokic attracts from the opposing players. So Minnesota is going to have to bring a second defender into plays, but they have a way to limit his damage by putting either Karl Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, or Kyle Anderson on Jokic and letting Gobert play that helper role while matched up on Aaron Gordon. Jokic can still get his. After all, he did average over 33 points, about 12 rebounds, and 4 assists during the regular season against Minnesota. So the Timberwolves have been successful in at least making his shots tougher and limiting his playmaking. So is that enough to get past this Nuggets team? Well, despite leading all teams in scoring during the first round, there are still very real concerns about Minnesota's offense, and that offense has been much shakier in the clutch than what we've seen with Denver. All that being said, though, I think this is going to be a really good series. I think it's going to go for quite some time. I see this going to 7 games, but in the end, I see the Nuggets prevailing. And as the president of the Mike Conley fan club, that just hurts my heart to say. Guys, let me know in the comments who you have winning this series. Drop your predictions down below. If you've enjoyed this video at any time, make sure you drop a like for the YouTube algorithm and hit that subscribe button too so you never miss another NBA video. I'm going to be here throughout the entire playoffs and into the NBA draft. Guys, a lot of people are ragging on this draft, but I think it's actually pretty exciting because we just don't know who is going to get picked near the top of the draft. It could be anybody. I did a whole video where I go through all 30 picks and give you my take on who I think should go where. So make sure you check out that video, and I will see you next time on the Half Court Report. Have a great day.